Trump fires BLS Commissioner over jobs report. Market chaos, tariff fears explained. When job numbers get revised, there's no undo button, and this time, the fallout is political. After the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, made substantial downward revisions to employment figures for May and June, cutting a staggering 258,000 jobs from earlier estimates, President Donald Trump took swift and controversial action. He fired BLS Commissioner Erika McEntarfer, accusing her of political bias and deliberately skewing data in the lead-up to the election. But here's where it gets controversial. Small. Lawmakers from both parties quickly weighed in. Senator Ron Wyden, the top Democrat on the Senate Finance Committee, didn't mince words. Bottom line, Trump wants to cook the books. On the other side of the aisle, Republican Senator Rand Paul expressed concern, telling NBC News, "You can't really make the numbers different or better by firing the people doing the counting." This move drew comparisons to China's decision in August 2023 to halt the release of youth unemployment data, as figures soared to record highs, a tactic widely criticized for suppressing inconvenient truths. Although China resumed publishing the data in January 2024, the parallel is hard to ignore, and this is the part most people miss. Firing the messenger doesn't erase the message. Just like a falling tree still makes a sound whether or not someone hears it, removing the person who reports bad news doesn't make that news disappear. The markets certainly heard it loud and clear. Following McEntarfer's dismissal and the disappointing jobs report, Wall Street reacted sharply. On Friday, all three major U.S. stock indexes suffered their worst losses in months. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ Composite, which had been riding high with record-breaking streaks, took a sudden nosedive. This shifts the entire economic equation. With new tariffs set to kick in on August 7th, businesses face rising costs and growing uncertainty, factors that could further dampen hiring and economic momentum. Investors are now watching closely to see if the so-called taco trade, short for Trump always chickens out, will make a comeback. Will Trump backtrack on tariffs as pressure mounts, or will he double down? What you need to know today. Job market shows signs of strain. July's non-farm payrolls increased by just 73,000, far below the expected 100,000. Unemployment ticked up to 4.2%. Revisions to May and June's numbers were sharply negative. The president's intent to Trump accused McEntarfer of fabricating job data before the election and promptly remove her from her role. Markets tumble. The S&P 500 dropped 1.6% on Friday, its worst day since May 21st. The Pan-European Stock 600 index fell nearly 1.9%, marking its steepest decline since April. Berkshire Hathaway feels the pinch. Warren Buffett's conglomerate reported a 4% year-over-year drop in Q2 operating profit, citing concerns over Trump's tariffs and their impact on business operations. August's reputation precedes it. Historically, August ranks as the second worst month for the S&P 500, according to the Stock Trader's Almanac. With tariffs and AI earnings in play, investors are bracing for volatility. And finally, Switzerland blindsided by a 39% U.S. tariff, one of the highest rates imposed on any country. In a surprising move, the U.S. slapped a 39% tariff on Swiss exports, catching the Alpine nation off guard. Swiss media had suggested a deal was near, similar to agreements struck with the EU, UK, and Japan, which featured tariffs between 10% and 15%. Instead, Switzerland now faces one of the steepest trade penalties, a major blow considering the U.S. represents roughly 1/6 of its total exports. So, here's the question. Is this about protecting American jobs or punishing political enemies? Do you think Trump's firing of McEntarfer was justified, or was it a dangerous politicization of economic data? Should governments ever suppress or manipulate statistics to control public perception? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This one's bound to spark debate. The truth behind Trump's BLS dismissal, analyzing labor data manipulation. The politics of economic data, a crisis of credibility, in a stunning development that has sent shockwaves through Washington's economic circles. President Trump's controversial dismissal of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, chief, following a disappointing July employment report, has sparked intense debate about the integrity of government economic data. But here's where things get really interesting. The aftermath has created an awkward dance of credibility among top officials, particularly for Labor Secretary Lori Chavez-DeRemer. Early Friday morning, she attempted to put a positive spin on the situation, highlighting positive job growth despite downward revisions for May and June. This is where it gets complicated. Within hours, everything changed. Following Trump's sudden termination of the BLS director, who directly reports to Chavez-DeRemer, the Labor Secretary executed a remarkable pivot. She quickly aligned with the president's position, tweeting her full support for ensuring job numbers remain fair, accurate, and never manipulated for political purposes. This dramatic shift raises an uncomfortable question. How can the same data be both reliable in the morning and suspect by afternoon? This situation exposes a deeper issue that many observers are missing: the delicate balance between political loyalty and statistical integrity. Chavez-DeRemer's rapid reversal has potentially undermined her authority as a trustworthy voice on labor policy and economic data interpretation. What do you think? Should government statistical agencies be completely independent from political oversight? Or is some level of political accountability necessary? Share your thoughts on this controversial balance between political control and data integrity in the comments below. Trump's labor statistics shakeup, what it means for the economy. A shocking revelation has emerged from the White House, leaving many questioning the integrity of economic data. President Trump, in a bold move, has fired the Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner Erika McEntarfer and plans to appoint a new one within days. This decision has sparked controversy and raised eyebrows among experts and former officials. National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett defended Trump's move, stating that the president wants his own people at the BLS. But here's where it gets controversial. Hassett claims that the jobs data was rigged and that a fresh set of eyes is needed. He suggests there are partisan patterns in the jobless data, a claim that has left many scratching their heads. Former BLS Commissioner William Beach, who served under both Trump and Biden, believes the data is still reliable despite McEntarfer's firing. He urges Trump to tone down his rhetoric, as it undermines the credibility of the Bureau. Beach's concerns echo those of former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, who calls Trump's claims preposterous and warns of the democratic implications. The impact of these tariffs is a hotly debated topic. While some economists and investors breathe a sigh of relief at the reduced rates, others worry about the new August tariffs and their potential effect on financial markets. Larry Summers argues that these tariffs do not create jobs and could make certain industries less competitive globally. The question remains, will Trump change course if markets react negatively? As the United States and China teeter on the brink of a full-blown trade war, the consequences could be devastating for both nations. The U.S. relies heavily on China for various goods, from consumer electronics to rare earth minerals and pharmaceuticals. Trump's administration insists that companies and other countries pay the tariffs, but recent data shows that the prices of some American goods have indeed increased. This story has evolved with new developments and insights. The controversy surrounding the BLS and the impact of tariffs continues to spark debate. What are your thoughts on these issues? Do you agree with Trump's decision to fire the commissioner? And how do you think these trade policies will affect the global economy? We'd love to hear your opinions in the comments.